now, coming to you live from atop the Lavender Town radio tower, it's the one, the only, PoGo.
It's PoGo! PoGo! It's PoGo! PoGo! Pokemon Underground Champions League, oh yeah! PoGo! PoGo.
Welcome to the PoClPodcast. I am your host, Trainer Thatch, here today with my wonderful co-host. We've got Dr. Shamu.
Hello, been a while.
And we've got Seth Vilo.
I don't have any doctor degrees next to my name, so I'm less fancy.
I forget that I have one in my name. I'm going to be honest with you. I forget.
Dr. Thatch.
Constantly, actually. Welcome to the PoClPodcast. PoGo, of course, standing for the Pokemon Underground Champions League, a nonsensical name we came up with in 2007, where we talk everything Pokemon from the trading card game to the video game to everything in between. Sorry, Seth, I cut you off there.
Oh, no, you're fine. I just came to the realization that I do, in fact, have Lord attached, but other than that...
You do have Lord. Dr. Thatch is not a person, but like my actual name, I do technically have Doctor, and I forget this all of the time, actually.
Uh-huh.
Like, anytime somebody, like, addresses me as Doctor in real life,
Who?
I do have, like, I have, like, a moment of, like, oh, yeah, I did do that. And I don't know, I'm never, like, egotistical enough to be like, yes, call me Doctor, because I earned that title.
You must call me by the title I spent time to earn.
Occasionally, I'll do it jokingly if I remember, because I barely ever remember that I can be called Doctor. But, like, occasionally, like, somebody will be like, will call me, like, Mr., right? And I'll be like, no, don't call me that. That's my father's name. You can call me Doctor.
Please.
Please, call me Doctor.
Mister's my father's name.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, every once in a while. Whenever somebody, like, in a professional setting, like, calls me Doctor, I just correct them immediately. And I'm like, do not call me that. Do not call me that. Please don't call me that. It's the worst with, like, because I still work with students occasionally.
Oh, yeah, that's gotta be weird.
I still work with, like, undergraduate students, and I'll get them every once in a while. Like, I work with one now, and he's actually great. He's one of the better students I've ever had. But I'll work with students, and when you first meet them, they always call you Doctor whatever, because they're so used to professors at university.
Absolutely.
And I go,
start off high and aim low. It's like bidding.
I'm like, do not call me that. This is my name. Just call me by my name.
Yeah. Start high, settle low.
Yeah. I'm just like, do not call me Doctor. I don't know who calls me Doctor. I don't think anybody actually calls me Doctor, or if they do, I don't know anybody that I haven't corrected to not call me Doctor.
This is giving that scene from the Doctor Strange movie, the first one, where it's like, Mr. Doctor, that's strange.
Yes.
Maybe, but who am I to judge?
Yeah, no, it's so weird, man. It's so weird. The life of having a PhD, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
It's fine.
I've gotten it by osmosis.
I reflect on my time as a PhD, getting my PhD, and I'm like, I could have done something else. I could have totally done something else.
I'm going to see a buddy of mine probably next week that's also probably in the same boat. And I'm going to ask him about this, except his is much more amphibious in nature than what you put your degree in.
I don't know. It's probably like almost as useful. I'm going to be honest with you. Because like I would argue that, so like my PhD's in physics, and my job more or less now is in like electronics.
Yeah, and that's a change, I guess.
Yeah. It's like kind of a change, but not entirely a change. But there are other routes you can go to do the exact same thing I'm doing now that aren't physics, and I think are much easier to sell to employers.
Yeah.
Getting your PhD, like, I don't know, like, this isn't life advice for any physics majors listening to this podcast right now, but because maybe you really enjoy physics, and I certainly did, but that degree is definitely a harder sell than if I would have gotten it in, say, like material science or electrical engineering. And you learn most of the same stuff anyway.
That's true. Okay. I see that.
Same content, different title, and
it's different. It's slightly different perspective for both, I would argue.
Yeah,
but
if you say I did material science, and people go, okay, you did like physical science. Okay, when you say physics, people go, what?
Well, if you do material science, they go, oh, you can do material science. If you do physics, you can argue with them a little bit, and then they'll realize, oh, you can do material science.
Yeah.
If you do electrical engineering, they go, oh, yes, you can engineer materials to do electronics. And there's a couple of them that are just much easier sells than physics. So I would do what you will with that information, physics majors listening to this podcast.
The choice is yours, dear listener.
I was once you, and I am okay.
All 0.5 of them?
First, I was afraid. I was petrified.
Yes. But yeah, enough about Thatch's PhD. And,
Thatch's schooling life.
Yes, yeah. Well, this is a Pokemon podcast. Have you guys done any fun Pokemon stuff lately?
I am just getting more and more hyped for Temporal Forces. I'm going to 2 pre-releases on Sunday, so that'll be the day before this comes out.
I'm actually kind of hyped. I really want to build the Feraligatr deck.
Yeah.
It's got potential.
I've been looking at the City League things and using Limitless and going into it to see what people are building. Mm-hmm. There are just so many wild things out there, but so many good wild things.
It's also rotation.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm so excited for this.
I love EUIC because it's always the first tournament after rotation. And I love it for a couple of reasons. One, because you see different decks, which is really nice. And a lot of the times it's the different decks that you expect if you're following the meta. But I would say almost the tournament immediately after, the meta shifts so drastically because people actually sit down and think about it.
It's weird.
Well, I think, in my opinion, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Seth, mostly because you're like deeper into it than I am. Same with you, Shamu.
Okay.
Is that the TCG meta? I feel like there's a few people who are super hardcore, and these are the people that are printing proxies right now for Temporal Forces and testing post rotation. Like those people exist, right? But
oh yeah, no, I'm
haven't played anything without I have not played a VIP pass down in weeks because all of my decks are proxied out for post rotation.
That also depends on what they have. That's also people who are planning stuff to a degree too. If there are people who are planning on playing in every single event going on, they're less likely to do that. But if they're like, okay, I'm essentially done until post rotation, then they're going to start printing out these proxies. Yeah. Like it depends on who's doing what.
I think a majority of people aren't the people that are printing out the proxies.
Agreed.
I think so. I think what actually happens is EUIC happens, and then a lot of deck development goes on. You know what I mean? Like EUIC happens, and then a bunch happens, and so it shifts the meta entirely after EUIC.
Oh yeah, it'll get shifted because EUIC will be a lot of like introductory lists, and some people probably be net decking Japan, but some people will also be doing theory stuff.
Yes.
Like I don't even know what deck. I didn't really recognize it. I didn't watch the Utrecht special event, but like I think Tord brought some random pile.
Oh, Tord's.
Oh, wasn't it like, what was it? Zard
it had like 50 one-ofs. He's just doing his own thing for passing time at this point.
So when Sigma and I were on the show last week, and Sigma and I were watching Tord play that deck as like the show was going on, and Sigma and I go, I really hope people start playing this deck on ladder because it's not a good deck.
No.
Well, it's what happened with the Lost Box deck. He just played a pile and people took it and started trying to make it work or like tinker with it. But it's like, that's the type of thing of people who are competitive that are just like, they're just bring a pile just to mess around with, and, you know, like, they'll go to an event just to mess around with it, but at home, they'll like actually test these new strategies.
Oh, yeah.
While just throwing something at the wall.
I think it really just comes down to like, I think a lot of people who go to regionals are just people who are playing in locals and then go to regionals for funsies.
Yeah, for sure.
And even if you look at like top 8s that occur in the regionals, I would say only like maybe like typically like 2 names are people who are like really well known, because it's just other people who like bubble up to the top of these regionals.
Sure. Granted,
can. I absolutely agree with you, Seth. I think the biggest revelation to me about this fact, it was probably in my head before, but like when we went to Fort Wayne last year, you and I,
yeah,
and when you and I played essentially the same deck list with like one card off. And there's a guy who got 6th place running almost the exact same deck as us, but
with
one
like
card
2
off.
cards off. Yep.
Yeah, it was like 1 or 2 cards off from what we were playing. And you and I both had like meh days. And this guy like has this incredible run. It came to my attention that it's just like, it really just comes down to who you hit. Like,
oh, totally.
Kinda.
It does.
It really just comes up to the luck of the draw.
Day 1, I would say for sure. Day 2, it's a little less.
Oh, no, day 1 for sure.
What do you hit? What do you, like, do you get paired up against, like, jank rounds 1 or 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, dodge the matchup, yeah.
I remember that, so we were playing Lost Gudra that day, and I remember there was the guy who got 6th place had Lost Gudra as well. And you and I remember looking at least my matchups, and I hit 3 Arceus Duraldons, which is like the bane of that deck's existence.
I hit an Arceus Vulpix, which is even more the bane.
Yes. And I just remember I just remember being like, oh man, I hit like 3 of these. And then I looked up the 6th place guy and see what he hit during the day. And it was all of the easiest matchups for the deck the entire way through. And I was like, oh my God. If I would have had these if I would have had these matchups, I of course would have made day 2.
Yeah, it happens.
And so it really, especially I think in this meta right now with how many decks are like actually viable.
Yeah. Well, it's going to change a lot. Once Pass goes, it opens the floodgates a lot. Like any Arc deck is now viable. Arc Vulpix will be a thing you'll see at like every locals because it just stops decks in their tracks.
Mm-hmm.
But like once Pass goes, a lot of things pop off and you can do a lot of different things, which is cool.
I'm excited.
But
I'm
also
excited
like, okay, because all the there's nothing holding back some of the faster decks that already exist.
I'm kind of excited because I don't know, like in the past year, I've seen a lot of like doom and gloom, like things on Twitter for the TCG.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
especially in like the past 6 months. Honestly, like everybody's like, "Oh man, Iron Hands EX is going to ruin the meta," and then it didn't.
It was Iron Hands and Zard, and those two. The Iron Hands hasn't done much. We'll see more though soon.
I don't know, like, I've been watching it enough, like, everybody's, like, freaking out about the A-Spec, that's Guzma, and they're just like, it's gonna be
it's not that.
Yeah.
No.
The others have their reasons.
No, I'm just like, okay,
it's pretty good.
So it's gonna be okay. Like, I'm not worried.
We'll be fine.
I think the TCG designers are doing they're doing a very good job as of late. I think the TCG community is just bad at calling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks scary on paper, but, like, Japan's a different format, yes, but looking at a lot of their lists, it's not like in every list. A lot of lists are playing like the cape or the big choice belt. Yeah, a lot of decks do also have the switcher, of course, but like they're playing like other A specs because they do.
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
Plus 50 is good for something like Tina, making it like essentially able to actually fight Zard toe to toe way more than it already could. You know, like being able to go, cool, I do one shot you now.
I'm bringing the worst one probably to Orlando because I think I've decided what I'm playing.
Are you playing Raging Bolt? Or you're doing I'm
doing Tinkaton to Dunsparce, baby.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was doing a local thing the other day and I was facing off against someone and I did 760 damage to that Pokemon in front of me because I had that many cards in my hand. It was so stupid.
That sounds fun. That sounds fun.
Also, we get the resurgence of Lugia too.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Gross.
All right, so I'm going to cut us off here only because we're already so long in the topic. Mostly because it's the 3 of us, and we're going to talk about TCG all day if I don't stop us.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's us.
I think I should say one thing about TCG because I didn't get to say it because that's been a while since Charlotte.
Go ahead.
Seth knows. The one thing I got back for you at Charlotte that I will now remember, and I have video proof of this. I haven't clipped it, but I saved the VOD. I got to essentially stall Azul out with Drago.
Yeah, you did.
Were you on stream?
No,
he wasn't.
No, it was like round 3. We were at the point of like one loss and drop type thing. But I got to Azul with Miraidon against Drago.
Against Drago.
Oh my gosh!
Like
the Drago that says basic Pokemon do nothing to me.
Yeah, it was a match I finally realized, wow, this is really exhausting saying Covert Flight for like 20 turns in a row.
Yeah, I believe that.
And he talked about it on his stream, right?
Did he?
Yeah, I have the bot, yeah.
Yeah, when he did his own like YouTube thing later, he talked about the matchup.
Yeah. He also did a stream playing Drago the day after that.
Oh, really?
It wasn't the same build, but
yeah.
It was just, I'll take my moment in the fame.
I did
it. In infamy.
Yeah. Drago. I wish it wasn't the tie in the end, but it is what it is.
That was cool though.
It was a fun moment going, oh, wait, that's okay. I'm looking at a duel on my matchup
I made the guy
pairing.
who won 2 regionals in the last couple months tie against me. That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all.
I'd take
looking at the ranking record, seeing like a bunch of meta decks and then like question mark.
That means you and I have both beaten Azul at least once.
All right.
That one stream. Yeah.
All right. Now I'm going to cut us off and we're going to go kick it on over to the news. Let's cue that epic music.
Coming to you live from the Lavender Town Radio Tower. This just in.
Welcome to the news. In the news, we've got a few things. The most important being Toyota made up a ride-on model bike.
I love that, actually.
Why did they do this? I don't know. Why are we reporting on it? Because it was a light news week. It was either this or typing Cypher Maniac's code breaking 5 times and asking to read it as fast as possible. But yeah, Toyota did this. This because they're too scared to make a ride-on bike.
I don't blame them, but that Maridon bike looks really cool.
It looks really
love
cool.
it.
I think they should. I think it would be funny if they at least like made like an immobile version of the Maridon bike, or at least one where like the legs are just like turning and it's really bad.
Right.
Yeah.
I can imagine that being like an actual bike, and so like you have the actual like how the chain that just it has like a paper moving thing where it's just like.
I would imagine it would be.
The arms are moving, but as you like cycle the bike,
I'm thinking Disney World float.
I just imagine it would be like as if you were riding a bicycle with like square wheels instead of round ones. You know what I mean?
Ka-thunk.
Ka-thunk. Yeah. Cyclizar's existence is also just like so. After the DLC was so still not answered.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. But yeah, we were talking about the European International Championships. There's always giveaways for these around this time of year. And the giveaways for those are an Iron Hands for the video game. You can download an Iron Hands for VGC. And there's also an Art Rare Raging Bolt EX for TCG Live.
Yeah.
Not TCG Pocket. Not TCG Pocket.
Not Pocket.
Which is a game that exists for a reason.
Not yet.
I can't wait for it to confuse everyone.
Right.
On the App Store. I'm very excited. All right. Well, Seth, you're going to talk about the Scarlet and Violet news.
Sure. So there was the special event that happened in Utrecht, I think is how you pronounce it. I don't know for sure. But against
Utrecht,
all
Germany,
odds.
yes.
Against all odds in the VGC thing, a team that happened to have an Articuno on it, number one, that's impressive.
Yes.
One, but also this Articuno just, what is coverage? You know, in the end, do you need it? Do you need any coverage at all? Do you just need 4 ice moves? Are we all going back to how we first built our Charizard?
Well, you know what 4 ice moves are we talking about?
Is one of them freeze dry? That's my question.
I actually don't know what the 4 are. I saw this on Twitter, too.
We can find this.
I need to
just look up the victory team.
We can look this up real quick. I'm gonna find out for us all because now we're all curious.
Now we got it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sigma, for not giving us any details.
Yeah,
like freeze dry, ice beam, haze, or something. I don't think you can get haze.
Thanks for not telling us anything.
I think it was like straight up 4 offensive ice moves.
Ice shard.
Wait, I may have it. If it'll load.
Icy wind.
There it is. Okay. I got it. Hang on. It is a Specs Articuno. Moveset of Blizzard.
Yeah, okay.
Blizzard, Ice Beam, Freeze Dry, and drumroll, Sheer Cold.
Okay, so like it was kind of all ice. I don't know, like that's a strong saying it's all ice moves is technically correct. In spirit though, not so much.
Ice and an Oko.
Well, freeze dry is also like kind of a weird ice move because it's not entirely an ice move because it hits water for super effective damage.
Articuno list? What? There's another Articuno team that made it in top 8.
So somebody just like figured this out. Somebody was just like, "Oh no, it's the same exact team."
It's the same team. Yeah.
They were building together. That's what happened.
Wow.
They were building together.
How wild!
So it was a meta call, which is cool. I like seeing I like Articuno the most. I just wish it was better.
Cool.
Well, it probably also helps. So there was an Alolan Ninetales on the team, which I think is probably part of the reason it did so
Blizzard
well.
Spam.
Yeah, because you could choice Specs Blizzard Spam. I think is just probably good. In addition, because Evasion Clause isn't a thing in VGC, you could also run Snow Cloak on the Articuno.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't hit the Articuno. The Articuno can hit you.
Gross.
It's one of those things where I wish because Articuno is looking at the base stats, 90 HP, 100 defense, 125 special defense is awesome, but it's also an ice flying type, which means it's absolutely terrible typing wise.
Yeah. But in a world without Stealth Rock much.
Yep.
Well, even without stealth, it doesn't even matter with Stealth Rock. It's I get hit by a rock tomb, I'm dead.
Yeah. Who uses rock moves in VGC?
Well,
I don't know.
Arcanine. But either way, move along, Seth. There's more.
So, in the actual video game itself, in Scarlet and Violet, there is a 7-star Blastoise that's still live for, after this podcast comes out, about a day. You should assume that it will have max defense for the entire battle, but it is pretty weak to Snarl and any special attacker that can kind of set up on it. So, if you want to take it out, I've heard it's pretty good and easy to take out by yourself.
Yes.
For people doing Miraidon and also people doing Gastrodon stuff too. So
I forget what type is it. What type does it shift?
It's Steel.
It's Steel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Steel with Water, Steel, fighting coverage, and then it essentially has the big thing that has Shell Smash at the beginning, and it also has Iron Defense and Withdraw, so it's just going to constantly do those at times.
Yes.
But it does a Shell Smash, and then it resets its stats, so it has no defense penalty.
Yeah.
It does that whole thing, so
that's sort of cool, I guess.
But yeah, if you have ways to get around water steel fighting, you're probably fine. Or at least make them resisted or neutralized in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Shamu is correct.
I haven't done it yet, but it just seems that's kind of... Yeah.
Okie dokie. Well then, the last thing for just kind of general video game-ish type news is that currently there are 2 big suspect tests happening in the Smogon world. One is for gouging fire in OU, because people have found the Breaking Swipe set and the Bulky Dragon Dance attacking set, and that is wreaking havoc on the tier. Ooh. And surprisingly, there is actually a suspect test going on in the Ubers tier to see if Miraidon needs to be removed to Anything Goes. So, get your votes in, folks. They're shorter tests nowadays, so they may be close to wrapping by the time this podcast comes out. And, yeah, we're getting closer and closer to a more and more balanced OU. I know Arch Aladon was banned just recently as well.
I don't know. I feel like ever since Gen 8, OU just hasn't been balanced.
The latter suspects and tests and things like that were not built for DLC drops.
No, they were not. I think that's part of the problem. Now, have they been decent about trying to remedy that?
They've been real good about it. They've being able to do these suspect surveys, general community pulse surveys much more frequently, taking action on them quicker, quick banning what needs to be quick banned very obviously. They're doing a great job, honestly.
Yes. I do not fault them for that in the slightest.
Yeah.
I think they're trying very hard. But yeah, Shamu, we've got some Pokemon Go news.
Yeah, so GoFest this year will feature Marshadow and Maractus. The global event costs $15 and will take place July 13th to 14th. The North American IRL event happens a week earlier in New York City. There's also some weather event happening, but the Primals returning are Kyogre and Groudon Primals, so they're returning on 17th for Kyogre, 23rd for Groudon.
Oh, cool.
From 2 to 5, and they have increased shiny odds. Cool. Shiny Primals.
Ooh, is the 17th?
And then,
the 17th is next weekend, Seth. It is St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, get a Kyogre from 2 to 5, assuming you have your phone at that time.
If it was while I'm down at Disney World. Nope.
I don't know what Saturday for this is, but there's a Glitton Community Day on a Saturday. There is no actual date here, so I don't know which Saturday that is.
Keep your eyes open for it. Check Cerebi.
Yeah, there's a Glitton Community Day on Saturday. I'm trying to find it. And I don't see anything on there right now.
It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
All right. In Puckle news, there's nothing to talk about, actually, other than normal streams on Wednesday and Sunday. So check that out.
That might be might be the end for us, Seth, because we've got Victory Road Elite 4, and I don't know if we'll continue past that.
My egg lock is nowhere near the end, so we are good to go. I'm very excited for the egg lock to end, only so I could start doing Pokemon Stadium. But all right, well, go ahead.
I did get confirmation. The Litten is on March 16th, so that'll be the Saturday after this show comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 1 week from now.
And finally, Puckle's Poke prediction. What non-starter Gen 6 Pokemon do you hope gets its Mega in Pokemon Plaza?
Superior.
No, Gen 6. It says what non-starter Gen 6. Generation 6, Seth.
Non-starter Gen...
I didn't hear a stutter.
Non-starter Gen 6. I read it as non-Gen 6 starter in my head.
You got like all of the qualifiers wrong in your answer.
I got them flip-flopped.
You got all of them wrong.
The obvious answer that everyone wants is going to be Flygon, so I don't want to say that.
Well, first of all, that's not a Gen 6 Pokemon, so that's a great answer. That doesn't follow the criteria.
I got it wrong again. Wow, I'm very good at this game.
So, you know what? I'm going to say Hawlucha just to make sense.
Hawlucha is a good answer.
It already has a Mega. It's just Pinsir.
I think Hawlucha is a great answer.
If it has a Mega, it can't have Unburden.
Ooh, okay, you're selling me on it. I think
it's very easy to be like Goodra, right? But I feel like that's a cop-out answer.
I think Noivern is a good one.
Noivern, there's a lot of them I can be okay with, but none of these scream to me. I really want a Mega for this Pokemon. None of them make
I want to see Mega. I was going to say Trevenant. Yeah, those two.
Gourgeist and Trevenant would be fun. I think
that'd be slick.
Yeah.
I guess if I wanted them to fix the Pokemon, I'd want them to fix the fossils.
No. Klefki, and it steals the entire car, not just the keys.
Florges, but it's just a bigger flower.
It's just Klefki behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler.
Florges, it's just a bush.
Florges, but
Klefki is just a guy.
Florges becomes a grass type.
Yeah.
Yes.
God.
Yeah. Actually, that's not a bad idea. In all honesty,
I'm just imagining Florges where that wreath is so
I don't
big
think any of the I don't think too many of the Gen 6 outside of the starter will get Megas in Plaza.
Yeah, I don't.
Plaza.
Yeah.
I hate that.
I like calling it Plaza. Plaza! It's so exciting. Plaza.
I PVA because PLA is what I think. PVA, PLA.
Plaza. But it's like Pliz, but with an A. Plaza.
Maybe we'll get like 4 Gourgeist Megas, all different for each size.
Mega Hoopa Unbound.
I'll take it.
I've done it.
Mega Volcano. It
has no stats.
Mega Magearna. Oh wait, Magearna.
Each ring also has 2 more hands in it.
Wait, Magearna's Gen 7. But yeah, same difference. All right, well, I'm going to end us here, and we're going to kick things on over to Puckle's Poke Quiz, where we're going to quiz your co-host on their insane Pokemon knowledge.
Oh hi, and welcome to the Poke Quiz, the part of the show where we quiz our co-hosts on their insane Pokemon knowledge. I'm Mark from the Dunsparce gang, here to explain the rules. Our fabulous co-hosts will work as a team to answer 5 Pokemon-themed trivia questions that fans have submitted on the Discord server. Each question is worth 1 point, with Pokedex and multiple answer questions worth more, for a total of 7 points. The host can use a free hint at any time. If they get all the answers correct and do not use the hint, they can cash it in for an 8th point.
Welcome to Puckle's Poke Quiz. Thank you for that introduction. We're going to jump right on into it. Our first question for this week is going to come to you guys from G. McP. Pokemon is known for its free healthcare, but what city/town has the only Pokemon Center to charge you to heal your team?
Isn't it?
Oh, it's the one in the Po Town?
The one in Sun and Moon. Yeah, no, not. Is it Po Town? I
don't know if it's Po Town exact. It's the city
one in
that
Sun and
Team
Moon.
Skull's taken over. Yeah, in Sun and Moon.
I
don't know if it's called Po Town or something down. I think it's Po Town.
Do you want to go with Po Town?
Sure.
Yeah,
some TCG thing is sticking out.
Yeah, Po Town store is what I'm thinking.
Po Town is correct. Po Town is the answer. Po Town and Alola. Team Grunts, Team Skull Grunts, take over the Pokemon Center and charge you 10 Pokédollars to heal your Pokemon.
I love it. Which is a dime.
Which is like nothing.
Convert it.
Which is like nothing.
It's like $1.
It's funny.
It's not even $1. It's like a cent.
No, it's like it's a dime.
You move it
it's
2 decimal places.
Yeah. It's like a dime.
Oh,
yeah.
is it? Oh, is it 100 or is it 10 Poke though?
It's 100.
10 Pokken.
Yeah, 10 Poke is like a penny.
No, it's a dime. It's a dime. Because every 1 yen is 1 Pokken, and a yen is a penny. 1 yen is a penny, so 10 Pokken would be 10
cents. Oh, 1 yen is a penny. Okay, I'm thinking like 10 yen, which was like, yeah.
Okay. All right. So your next question is going to come to you from Nick. All level 5 starters have a status move, Leer, Growl, etc. But what starter is the only one whose status move is a stat raising move?
Oh. Wouldn't it be Growl seems to stick out to me in my head.
Growl's not it though. I'm thinking Howl, but I just don't know if it's Howl.
Growl. Oh yeah, that lowers. I'm thinking Howl. Is it Withdraw on the Squirtle line? Is that what they get? Or do they get Tail Whip? I think they start Tail Whip.
I think they start Tail Whip too. Withdraw the thing to keep in mind too. Does Turtwig get Withdraw?
Does Turtwig get it? That might be it. That feels right. Turtwig with
because I can't think of it getting Leer or Growl. I can't remember it getting a stat dropping.
Because I feel like I can hear its cry being played when it growls, but I mean, I feel like that's right. Other starters.
I might be thinking Howl on Poochyena, that's why I'm thinking that. But
that's probably what I'm thinking too.
Could they get there early? I kind of feel confident with Withdraw on Turtwig, though it might be like a level 7 move, and it's just
it might
the
be.
Next one.
I'm good with it though. Let's YOLO.
Yeah, why not? Turtwig with Withdraw.
Turtwig with Withdraw is correct.
Isn't that hard to say? Turtwig with
Withdraw.
with
Withdraw.
That double with.
Well, you guys are at 2 for 2, so it must not be that hard for you to say. All right. Well, your next question is your Pokedex entry question, as always. This is from Umbreon 1080. The Pokedex entry is from Pokemon Scarlet.
Ooh.
And its entry says, if you try to get close to it, it won't open to you. Even if you do grow close, giving it too much affection is still a no-no. Who's that Pokemon?
What? Open to you? That implies a Pokemon that, like, closes.
If you try to get close to it, it won't open to you. Open up to you. My apologies. Open up to you.
Open up to you. Okay.
Even if you do grow close, giving it too much affection is still a no-no.
And Scarlet. I don't think it's Glamora, even though it gives me that vibe, because that just talks about how...
Is it Glamet, maybe?
I don't think so.
I feel like it's weird. The thing is,
I'm thinking like opening again. Open. I think it means since he added the up, I think it's much more...
or like, I guess, emotionally type thing. It's like,
since the word up is in there, I think it's much more emotional. A stoic Pokemon. Gosh. What are stoic Scarlet fellas? Or angry stoic Scarlet fellas? Is it... I don't think it's the Palmy line, right?
No, I don't think so. I think they have their whole thing about like their paws and electricity, I think, is their whole thing.
Yeah.
I just can't think of any like Pokemon in there that just make me go opening up to me. Like, can you say the entry again?
If you try to get close to it, it won't open up to you. Even if you do grow close, giving it too much affection is still a no-no.
Yeah, that's implying emotional stuff.
Well, the thing is also, why would being too close to a no-no?
Yeah.
There's something there, so either it reacts badly, or it's also something... Because I just think of toxic debris. That's why I thought about it too. It's getting close to it is that. That's why I'm thinking of like... Or like a poison point dust type thing.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't really know exactly how,
Glimmet might not be bad. I don't think it's Glamora, but I
don't think so either. I think Glamora would be much more about the caves and the Terra stuff and all that, or something in that vein.
Yeah. These look like Terra shards. It's crystallized poison.
I need an answer.
Like,
Glimmet, lock in, YOLO.
Let's just do Glimmet, yeah.
Glimmet is unfortunately incorrect. The second entry is going to come to you from Pokemon Sun.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
This entry says, while grooming itself, it builds up fur inside its stomach. It sets the fur alight and spews fiery attacks, which change based on how it coughs.
What?
What?
Is it Litten? It feels like Litten. What else is a fiery cat? Or like Pyroar?
Fire and fur.
But that's much more... Litten is much more cat that actually like does that. That gives
It also makes sense to, like, it might take a while to open up because it's a cat.
Yeah, and then it becomes a DreamWorks character.
Yeah. I'm okay with, like, Litten, I think, because I also, I don't know, I can't...
I think it would have a Scarlet entry.
It does now because of the DLC.
It does now, yeah.
Yeah.
Litten.
Litten, why not?
Litten is correct.
Yeah!
It is Litten. There we go. You guys are 3 for 3. Your second question is your multiple answer question, as always. I hope you know your Pokemon XD knowledge. This is from Car Eternal. Unlike its predecessor, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness included 3 Pokestops where wild Pokemon could be caught. There are 9 total wild Pokemon that can be caught in these spots. What are they? I am going to give you 1 point per one you can give me. Up to 3, because there are 9, but I only want 3 of them.
Okay. You got anything, like, my guy?
Okay.
You do have to lock them in, and you do have strikes. You have 3 strikes.
I remember the waste. There's like the actual stops are like Oasis, Desert, and something else, I think. But I want to say Vampy was one of them. No,
are you locking that in?
I'm not gonna lock it in yet. But the thing, I'm remembering Wooper, Vampy, Sandshrew. Trying to remember some of the other odd ones. Vampy's really... I'm gonna say Vampy for sure, because I think that one's sticking out to me a lot.
Are you locking out Vampy? You're locking
We'll lock in Vampy.
That is correct. That is 1. Okay. I only need 2 more from you. There are 8 more to choose from.
You got this, buddy. I don't know nothing.
Let's try, what I said Wooper and Sandshrew. Let's just try those 2, because I can't...
Yeah.
Wooper is also correct, and it's Sandshrew. Those 3 are correct. That is all of them that you
goodness.
need. Okay. The other 6 that you guys did not get are...
Like Trapinch, one of them, maybe?
Trapinch is one of them. Yes.
Wow. It is. Okay. And is it Meryl, too?
No Meryl. Okay. There is Gligar, Hoppip, Surskit, Zubat,
yeah,
and Aaron.
The other one was Cave. Yeah. That's what it was. Oasis, Desert, Cave.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
I remember all the like Oasis and Desert ones, I remember the image of them being there.
I did not think it was fair to give you guys all 9 of those. I expect you to remember them. But yeah, you guys are 6 for 4. Your last question is your base stat question, as always. This one is from Zay Paladin. Which Pokemon with the ability Weak Armor has the highest base defense?
Skarmory. Almost positive.
That sounds...
Because there was a weird Skarmory set, I think.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, with the weakness policy, not weakness. What the weakness?
Yeah,
no, it was
or something.
Yeah, there was a weak armor one with like Swords Dance or something like that. Yeah, I do remember
agility,
that one.
Weak, like weird things.
It was like set up Skarmory with like weak armor.
Skarmory. Final answer.
I think that's right. I'm thinking like Onyx, but I think Onyx is like 130 or 135.
So Skarmory?
I'm okay with Skarmory. Yeah.
Skarmory's 140. Onyx is like
a little lower.
180.
Are we going
highest. If it's in Onyx, that would be wrong. I think Onyx is 130.
Are we doing Skarmory, is my question.
Yeah, we'll say Skarmory.
Yes.
Skarmory is correct. Skarmory has a base 140 defense. The second place is a tie between Crustle and Amistar at 125. And then, which is followed by Macargo at 120. So, Skarmory.
Yeah, I think Onyx doesn't have that ability.
No, I don't think
Onyx has like 180 defense, and Steelix is the one that gets 200.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, that's what am I thinking? I was trying to find Onyx so I could like.
Either way, you guys got, I believe, 8 today. So.
Heck yeah.
Good for you. That does change up our standings.
You betcha-roo.
You betcha-roo. Let me go ahead and see. Last week it was fighting me on like how to update it. It did it again.
Wait, that.
Uh-oh.
No.
Did we look it up and find out that's not right?
Is it actually Onyx? Is it actually Onyx?
Onyx gets weak armor, the hidden ability in Gen 8. It doesn't get in Gen 9.
Oh.
It's got base defense of 160.
It's got base defense of 160. Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Well, I'm gonna still give it to you because that's what was written on my sheet.
We had them both anyways, so
I'm gonna give you the one that was written on my sheet. So
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, in first place we've got R Sigma with 19 points. In second place, Seth Vilo with 16. In ninth place, Whimsicott with 15. In a tie for what place is it? Fourth place, Claude9 and Sublime Manic with 14. Followed up by Jushiro with 13, Dr. Shamu with 8, Linian with 7, Shark with 6, and Mark has yet to get on the board. With that said, guys, we are going to go ahead and we are going to kick it on over to our topic. We have another review from Fat Pat 1988. It slaps. I began listening to the podcast back in Gen 5 right before X and Y released. At the time it was okay. Fell out of Pokemon for a bit around Gen 7 and only recently came back. I came back to the podcast as well and I have to say they have really grown into something spectacular. I thoroughly enjoy the structure and content of the show. At this point, in my opinion, it is easily one of the best Pokemon podcasts out there. Well, thank you, Fat Pat 1988. And if you have a review, please drop it wherever you listen to the podcast. We really appreciate it. It helps people find the show. But until next time, let's move on to the topic. Welcome to our topic. Our topic today is how to make Pokemon types immune to things for types that aren't immune to anything. And I want to say immune to anything, but what that I mean is by like specific status effects. I think we can all agree that some types are immune to different types. And while that might be good enough for some of these, I can think of one or two of types that this might count for. I want to make sure that we capture the spirit. What we're trying to focus on here is things that Pokemon are immune to that are odd, kind of like how dark types are immune to Prankster.
Giving types the more characteristics if they don't have anything, really, and making it a bit more flavorful.
Yes, what Shamu said. I think that captures it exactly.
Because, like, grass being immune to powder and stuff like that, and, like, leech seed, that makes sense, and it's flavorful, but then what, like, you look at fighting type, what does fighting get?
Exactly. Well, we're gonna talk about it and see what it could get.
And we're gonna, that's the kind of the concept we're
gonna come up with one right here, in front of you.
You're gonna hear us right now come up with it, and, we're gonna have a good time with it. I think it's very easy if we look at like the basic type, like the basic starter types, like obviously fire is immune to burn, right? And grass is immune to powder moves, as we just said. So that's very similar. But if you pick Squirtle, what's Squirtle immune to? Water. What's water immune to? Currently nothing.
And it doesn't have any special characteristics for the type at all. It's got nothing except for like...
What do we think it should be immune to? I guess is the question that I'll pose to you two first. And then I'll chime in if you have no answers.
Sounds good.
I'm trying to see. It's like, what... Are there water status moves that do something hazardous?
Water doesn't have a ton of status moves, actually.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of...
That's one thing we can always look into, too, and just go, oh, maybe it should, like...
Yeah, I can't think of many water moves that do things like status moves. Like, the status moves I can think of are, like, technically Life Dew is a status move.
There's like 5 status moves for water.
There's Aqua Ring, there's, let me think of the other one. There's, oh my gosh, it's very hard to find.
It's Aqua Ring, Life Dew, Rain Dance, Soak, Water Sport, and Withdraw. There are literally 6 of them.
I guess you could also even include Water Pledge into that to some extent.
It's not a status move, though. It's a special of...
It's not entirely a status move, but like you don't use it for the damage. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Well, it sets up the terrain thing.
It's not even like really terrain.
God, water's actually a hard one to go off because it's like, what do we?
Yeah, I'm glad I picked the hardest one first, right? So to be fair, I think
because you can't do something like Swift Swim because that's an actual ability. You can't really,
right?
I think doing stuff like rock types, giving it like a special like a defense boost in water is a little.
Let's not talk about that.
Too much.
I don't know. Maybe they should get something, right? Like maybe they should get like they could get. Well, I guess they already get a buff and rain, right, with the attack boost to their stab. But like
that's an offensive boost. That's on the move. That's not on the type itself. Like a defensive buff essentially for the type. Or
perhaps it could be that like water types, because they are part of the element of water, which is the thing that is increased directly by rain, they may be immune to receiving bonus damage from a water type attack in rain.
What do you mean by bonus damage?
Neutralizing the rain boost that they would be hit by.
Oh, that would be interesting. I'm kind of into that.
Buff Toxapex, do it.
Neutralizing rain boost. I kind of like that. Like, or even any other. Well, I would just say rain. Like, I would just say rain.
It doesn't have to. Yeah, specifically the rain boost because they're like, more water. I'm used to this. I live in the ocean.
I'd prefer that one to because like if you say like they also get the boost in sun, that doesn't make any sense.
The sun is different. Sun is not just fire.
Yes, exactly.
Like sun affects so many other things, but rain and that kind of thing just affects like the water boost.
I do agree with that.
So that could be an interesting thing that they could get. Like I am also the master of rain, you fool.
I'm not against that idea.
Same here, because like honestly, it's kind of hard to like find. It's hard to like figure out things that we have that kind of exist.
That one's a hard one.
That is a hard one. I think that's the hardest one of all of them. I'm going to be honest.
Because like the thing that we would give water Pokemon, they already have in a way of an ability or something else. Like so you have to do it without giving them an ability essentially, which are like a coded ability. Like you could say overcoat type things in rain, but then the overcoat exists. We have overcoat. Give them a speed boost. Well, we have Swift Swim. Well, like what do we do?
And I think that's also like a small enough buff to the type that it doesn't really ruin it with everything else it already has. All right, well, we got one out of the way. We've got I want to bring up based on the normal, or not the normal type, but the type chart I have in front of me. Normal type. Normal type is already immune to ghost type, but I don't know that that's enough. But it is normal type, so like maybe that's good enough. I don't know.
Normal's hard too because it's meant to be like
anything.
It's meant to be a neutral across the board, but then it also has resistances to like two types. Steel and rock resist it.
That might be the one that we don't.
I don't know that I would touch normal, right? Just because it's supposed to be that. It's immune to ghost, which I think is probably good enough in terms of like any kind.
That's all you get.
It's immune to ghost, and honestly, it's only got one weakness too, which actually makes normal type pretty decent.
Yeah, because my thought was like, maybe you could do like normal stab as like a little stronger, but I think normal's already balanced to do that in its own. Like, maybe give it like a 1.1 times on top of its stab, but then it's like, that's kind of like those normal type moves, they're already taking that into account, and normal type Pokemon have an ability to kind of...
And with everything being able to learn Giga Drain, Hyper Beam, those kind of level things, normal's a very ubiquitous type anyway. Giving
it even stronger things is hard to do without...
And I mean, just the name of the move. Like, it's normal. It's nothing special.
It's normal. I agree.
It's a neutral baseline of just, we are...
Okay.
So you're immune to ghosts. That's all you get.
I agree with it.
Yeah, I think normal's probably fine at the baseline.
I agree with that. All right, well, our next on my list would be Electric. Electric, I think right now is immune to paralysis, which I think is probably good enough.
It is now, which was a recent change, because previously it was just like...
It was like, that was like as of Gen 7, I think. Or maybe Gen 6.
Yeah, they made it completely immune to the status condition, because there was a big gimmick of like, because of normalize,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It used to
Delcatty, you can paralyze Dugtrio with Thunder Wave. Ooh.
Yeah, there was that, and then also like Glare, like Shamu said. They essentially gave them all permanent limber, which I think is okay.
Which is funny for Stunfisk, poor thing.
Yeah, I think to go off of, like, it's gonna go out of order a little bit, but to cover them, the fire, electric, and poison types all being immune to their own status condition, I think is fine.
Yes, no. Well, yeah, I'm just going through the list, so we'll probably touch on it briefly again.
I know, but it's the fact that it covers the status condition aspect of that buff, essentially. Like, hey, you're immune to your own status. I think that's fine. Speaking
of which, next on the list is Ice, and I 100% agree with that. I think Ice should just be immune to freeze.
I think it is.
It should be if it isn't, yeah.
Is it already? I actually don't know this off the top of my head.
If it isn't, I think it should.
Wait, no. In Generation 1, Ice-type cannot get frozen by Ice-type moves. But they can't be frozen. Starting since Generation 3, Ice-type Pokemon cannot get frozen at all.
Okay, thank God. So that's already a thing.
They're also immune to the move Sheer Cold.
Whoa! Okay, so Ice-types are already doing pretty good.
Whoa, hold up. Also from Generation 7 onwards, Sheer Cold has increased accuracy when used by an Ice type.
Oh, that's interesting. I did not know that.
Look at that Articuno.
The Articuno is so much more better now. What?
This Articuno is amazing.
I'm curious on what that percentage is now, but I think, honestly, like, also with Gen 9, giving them the 50% defense boost in Hail.
Yes.
Or in Snow now.
That's so good.
No, I think Ice types are sitting in an okay spot.
And again, a lot of these are probably in an okay spot, but there's a couple later on that are kind of just like, what do you...
I also like being able to go through them and like discuss them because some of them are things I forget about. Like, I didn't know the Ice type Sheer Cold thing.
Yeah, and honestly, it's not really that much. It's misleading because it's less that Ice gets a boost and more that everything that isn't Ice got a nerf. Where now it says 30% on the accuracy. It's a weird formula based on level disparity.
Yeah, it's like level and speed and yeah.
But the base accuracy, if you're not an Ice type, is 20%. But if you are an Ice type, it's 30.
Well, Articuno's still doing really well. Okay.
But yeah, no, I think with freeze immunity plus defense and Snow, I think it's fine enough for the type itself.
I like it now. I think that was a good change, and I think that, like, in low-key, that was kind of part of what inspired the idea of this topic, is weird immunities and special perks.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Because, like, again, Grass being immune to the powder moves and, like, Leash Seed is...
Like, those things that are being added one generation at a time are really cool to see.
Mm-hmm. It gives the type more flavor, in a sense, and much more of a characteristic, because they're going like, yeah, the Grass Pokemon can't be hit by all these powders and pollens and stuff, which is fair. Like, that makes sense, you know?
Right. Well, next on my list is Fighting type.
Yeah, this is one that has nothing.
This is a hard one. I honestly, like, I partially just kind of want to give them Limber too, just because they're Fighting types, but even then...
Not all of them are Limber, though.
But, then you think of, like, Conkeldurr, right? Like...
If you work out enough, you can accidentally break something and paralyze yourself. So I think that's a fair one. Any special quirks for this? No.
No, none of them exist for Fighting type. Fighting type is kind of like one of the lamest types in the whole game.
Just a little bit.
It's like very weird. So type chart wise, you're super effective to normal. You're super effective to ice.
If you're a Fighting type and you're using a Fighting type move, it does double damage to a Steel type because you punch it.
I thought you were gonna have a legitimate thought.
No, no, not at all.
I would honestly think, imagine if you did a Fighting type using a Fighting type move, you have a chance to break any screens.
Wait,
to break any what?
Any screens. You have a chance to essentially trigger Brick Break.
We have like a whole move for that though, right? Like in Brick Break?
But that might be its theme.
I mean, we do have a move for it though, but making it a thing for the type so you could...
Is the distribution of Brick Break wide enough to make me think that that's worthwhile?
And I don't know.
A 10% chance for a Fighting type to break past screens on any Fighting type move it uses?
If you are using it with, like, Stab.
That's kind of cool.
That's fair. Let me look at... I still want to look at the...
Not like a base thing. Not like every fighting move has it, but if a fighting uses a fighting, it breaks through the screen of its type.
Yes. Still, you have to use the Stab. A lot of Pokemon do get Brick Break.
No, I'm just looking to see how many non-fighting type Pokemon get Brick Break. That's what I'm looking at right now.
If you wanna limit that a little bit, you could make it so that each like damage category only breaks through its screen. So like Focus Blast will break through Light Screen.
Whatever class of move it is.
I think it would be like Aura Sphere breaks through Light Screen and Focus Blast breaks through Light Screen, and then everything else breaks through Reflect, because I don't think there's any other special. Oh, Vacuum Wave exists, I guess.
Secret Sword, technically.
I'll give it to you.
And I guess if they have like Aurora Veil, it does both because it's one coat, essentially. You know, it's like, you can't really break through half of Aurora Veil unless it's coded that way. I don't think it is.
I'm gonna give it to you. I think that's a fun little buff. I think that's a cute little buff.
I think that's cool. I think that's a good one, Shamu.
10%'s not like a huge buff either. Like, it's not like a huge chance, but it's enough to be like, that's cute.
Yeah. That'll spice up VGC.
Honestly, that would spice up a lot of things.
The only step further I could think of is essentially doing that same thing of fighting using a fighting, but give it Urshifu go through Protect.
Ooh, that's terrifying.
Oh, I don't want to do that. That's too much.
But I don't personally like that. I'd rather just break a screen because I think that's less harmful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could, if you wanted to make it even stronger, you could just have it like a low chance of like going through Protect or Detect, but I don't know if I feel that's much more of a Saki thing than an actual...
I think it's much more thematic breaking through a barrier than it is breaking through someone's protection. Because in boxing and things like that, like there are protection things you do to the punches and you don't get hit by them. So breaking through an invisible wall, though, is really cool.
Yeah.
Or maybe even like give it like an Infiltrator-esque effect where it's like, it's a 10% chance just to ignore, almost like a crit.
Oh, yeah. Or like a portion of the damage isn't affected. I don't know.
I like the 10% chance. It's less complicated.
Well, 10%, I'm saying, I'm saying 10% chance, but like 10% chance to trigger, like...
Primeapes might broke through the barrier.
Yeah, that's whatever.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I kind of like that better.
That's kind of cool. I really dig that.
I think that is probably the most balanced version of everything we have discussed.
Probably.
And because we're only through like 7 types right now, I want to keep us moving.
Some of them naturally, like we're going to get to them, but some of them have them already that are good.
Poison's next on the list, and obviously Poison's immune to poison, and I think we're good.
Also having 100% chance on Toxic Hit, which is fine. I think having that little thing on top of it is enough, you know?
That's very good now.
You have your signature move that you will never miss with.
That's actually really good design, too. I really like that.
And absorbing the spikes.
Yeah, and that too. Hey, you absorb Toxic Spikes when you land. I think that's, again, you've got 3 things that, like, 3 characteristics that are unique, and I think that's fine.
All right. Well, next up is Ground.
So Ground's got 1 immunity, and it's also immune to Sandstorm.
It's immune to Sandstorm, and it doesn't get the buff in Sandstorm. That's it, though.
It doesn't get the buff, but it's immune.
Yes. I don't know if that's enough.
And I don't know either. It's something, though.
Immune to Thunder Wave and lightning moves, of course.
Ground is just like an okay type, so like I'm not too upset about it, because like you think about Earthquake's like probably the best move in the game.
It's a solidly grounded type.
The problem is Earthquake exists, and so ground type is just good.
The first thing that came to mind was essentially what Grassy Terrain does, where you are if you Grassy Terrain's down, like Earthquake and I don't know if it's just Earthquake. I think it's like Earthquake, Bulldoze, Magnitude. I think those moves are like reduced in damage in Grassy Terrain.
Only Earthquake. It's only Earthquake. I would be okay with ground types in general just taking like less from Earthquake, as long as it doesn't stack with Grassy Terrain.
I would think I'm just thinking anything like ground sourced, but it's not. I'm thinking of PTU keyword because that's how they do it there, and it makes.
Yes, I know what you mean.
But things like Bulldoze, Earthquake, Magnitude, things that are like Tremors, or maybe even like Dig, like things that are essentially.
Well, you could just make it a classification of move where it's just,
resisted or something. Like
how we have wind moves now.
Yeah, I guess what we're honestly coming up with is like ground should resist ground.
Honestly, in a simple way, yeah, but there's also things like High Horsepower and Headlong Rush where I don't think are the same things. Like, they're a ground type move, but they're also not like.
Yeah, I know, but like we came up with like 2 moves that are just like the exception to resisting ground, so we're just making those 2 moves freeze dry. That's how it feels. I don't know if that's a good enough answer, but
I don't know either. But I was the only thing I could think of off the top of my head.
I mean, I would be okay with even just like Earthquake, like just Earthquake, just because Earthquake is probably the singular best move in the game.
Ground's just a ground type being resistant to earthquake, I think is.
Yeah, I think that's incredibly fair.
Or maybe not even resist, maybe 10 or 20% less. Then you could make it even stack with grassy terrain and not be too bad.
I think I would be okay with that.
Yeah, just like a slight reduction. Kind of like this, we could just say like a 10%, like just a slight reduction. I don't know.
My brother, I know the ways of the earth as well.
We could just say 10 if you're feeling really spicy, make it 20. I
think that's fair. I think that would be cute. I'm not against that.
That'd be fair enough, yeah.
All right, so the next type on this list is flying. And flying's already immune to ground. It doesn't get much else.
Hey, remember fighting types and fighting types? What if we did flying types with flying types for defog? Or for rapid spin effect?
I'm not against that. I was just thinking, I was thinking something even simpler and just being like, they hit Hurricane every time. 100% accuracy on Hurricane.
No.
I guess Tornadoes would be like busted. Tornadoes would be busted.
In a way I see that, but we also have rain, and I think putting up rain is enough of a workaround.
Yeah, rain already does that. You are correct. You're correct.
I'm trying to think of something to do with like the new classification of wind moves that doesn't kind of get in on the abilities that take advantage of those, like Wind Rider.
There's a couple things I think of. One of them, I think maybe if you flying type move, Pokemon uses like a wind classification, we could do like a tailwind effect.
The thing is, that's kind of using two moves in one.
It is, and that's what I don't know.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like using two moves in one.
Yeah, I like little bonuses and immunities and things like that, but not using two moves for one.
But maybe effectively give them Punk Rock for those types of moves, for wind moves.
Remind me what Punk Rock.
So you take like 20% less, but you take like 20%. Did it say? I know Punk Rock does.
Take 20, do 20. They have a resistance to sound moves and a boost to sound moves.
Oh.
Yeah, that is what. Okay, I can remember if that was exactly or I'm getting mixed with PTU, but have that for wind.
They resist wind moves. They resist wind moves,
but do more with them too.
A little 10% perk there would be fun. Punk Rock is 30.
Do more with wind moves.
30, I think is fine.
30 is almost stab, and there's a lot of really powerful wind moves.
I would prefer 10 to 20. I think 10 to 20 is okay.
For innate boosts like that just you have to exist.
Yeah, innate, yeah. No, innate, yeah. No, I gotta think innate, yeah.
You know what? Because this is Pokemon code and it doesn't actually matter. One, because we're making this up, but two, because Pokemon code is arbitrary. Let's split the difference and make it a random 15%.
I was gonna say split it 15, but yeah, like for an innate thing, just make it half of that. I think is fine. And then maybe down the line they'll give some really weird bad bird like an actual ability that does that on top of it and makes it like viable that way.
All right, so
because my fear was making it a big buff is like something like Heat Wave, because Heat Wave is like 90 damage, and it's like making that very strong would be scary.
I'm looking at some of the other wind moves that are in here, and there's a lot of non-flying ones. I'm surprised. There's all the ones from the genies, the Wild Bolt Storm, Sandsear Storm, they're all winds. Twister and Whirlwind, Hurricane, which is terrifying, Blizzard, which is terrifying. Oh gosh, Articuno, Hurricane, Blizzard.
But you would only be able to use one or the other because they're both...
With sheer cold. Don't forget sheer...
With sheer cold.
You can't have rain and hail at the same time.
Petal Blizzard is the only physical one that is also a wind move. Interesting. I like that idea, that like a random 10 to 15% if you are a flying type using a wind move.
All right, well, I'm going to keep moving us along only because we still have a lot to get through.
Oh, for sure.
Next up is going to be Psychic. I don't think Psychic has anything, and I don't know that it needs anything, but...
We could copy fighting. We'll just copy the same thing we already did.
I would be okay with if we copy fighting if we make the following adjustment, that fighting only does reflect and Psychic only does light screen.
I've got a better one for you.
Continue.
Psychic is representative of like two big things in the Pokemon world, if you will. One of them is the power of mind. The other one is like generally a force of good, because it's kind of the contrary to the dark type, which in Japanese is an evil type. However, what if Psychic, because of leaning into the power of mind, is immune to the confused condition?
Yes, I like that. Immune to confusion. I'm okay with that. I do not see any problem with that, in all honesty.
it is kind of leaning into own tempo.
But it's also like the weakest of all the status conditions.
But I mean, Limber's the same.
No. I think leaning into own tempo is fine because we're electric types are leaning into Limber, so I think that's perfectly reasonable.
What are you about to say, Shamu?
I'm wondering, what if they can't be taunted?
I don't like that. I like confusion better than the taunt. I see the reasoning.
That's not a bad one.
I'm not saying it's bad.
Because the thing is, I think of confusion, like, you can have a strong mind and still, like, it goes both ways. I can still, like, you're big brain, but you get confused. Like, confusion isn't like, you don't know what's going on. It's more you're being put into a state of what is going on. Like, you're, like, getting dizzy. Like, dizzy, like, it's less of a...
But at the same time, you could make the same argument for a taunt, right? Like...
Oh, yeah, totally. I'm not saying you can't die, yeah, but, like, it's also, like...
And I think the taunt kind of overlaps with the Dark-type Prankster immunity to some extent.
Also, I'm hesitant for it being...
That's also Tricksters being aware of Tricksters. That's how that, I think, goes.
I'm hesitant of it being, like, a one-move immunity.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't, like, if other moves did what Taunt did, I would be much more for that, but, like...
Yes, I think if we got a different Taunt, that would be okay, but I don't think we can do it with just Taunt.
Yeah. A lot of confusion-inducing moves are psychic type, whether, like, they're the ones that do it on purpose or have the side effect of it.
Yep, I'm okay with it.
So that's an idea. That was the one that I thought of when we mentioned this topic, and I was like, I got this. Got it.
Yeah, because I can think of, like, the first things I think of are, like, Teeter Dance, Dizzy Punch, Confuse Ray, which are just...
So next on the list is Bug.
I don't know.
It's immune to shapes.
It's immune to shapes. Their form cannot be changed.
Oh, I got the basic one off the top of my head is it gets rid of Sticky Web on entry.
I like immunity to Sticky Web. I do like immunity to Sticky Web.
Immunity to Sticky Web is cool because Bug.
Yeah, it makes sense. The bug that a bug can be immune to it and then also get rid of it, like Toxic Spikes.
I know we were just talking about singular moves, like we don't like that, but honestly, Bug type is the one.
Poison has the precedent to say...
Exactly.
It comes in, Toxic Spikes goes away.
I'm immune to this entry hazard.
Bug comes in, Sticky Web goes away.
It gets rid of Sticky Web. I do like that.
It's immune and it gets rid of it.
I do like Sticky Web removable.
And I just say you got to be a little bit careful with Bug for not overpowering it just because it's, you know, a Route 1 kind of thing all the time.
It's also meant not to be good. It's also just meant not to be good.
But Sticky Web is good enough.
It's meant not to be good, but also just like...
My favorite thing about Bug is when they introduced Fairy type to help balance the meta, they also just made Fairy type resist Bug for no reason, just to kick it while it's down.
It's because fairies ride bugs all the time.
They just wanted them to kick Bug while it was down.
Exactly.
All right. Well, that one was fast and easy. Next is Rock.
Yeah, because I can't think of anything else to do with Bug to make it like...
I think Rock is fine because it gets the 50% special defense boost in Sandstorm, and we're just...
Absorb Stealth Rock. Do it, cowards. Not only does it absorb Stealth Rock, it heals 12.5% when it does it.
I'm just trying to speed us through some of these, Seth, because we still have more types to go.
We're almost done, but yeah. But, like, I think Rock and Ghost are fine.
Yeah, Ghost is immune to trapping, which I think is fine.
And double immunity.
That's a cool thing. Ghost and double damage immunity, yeah, that's very good.
It does get double immunity from fighting and normal.
I know one thing I would love to see at some point, though, is something for, like a Ghost-type Scrappy. I would like to see that at some point in the future. So Ghost can hit normal types, at least. Like, Ghost-type moves hit normal-type Pokemon. I would like to see that. I feel like that's too much for normals. Like, normal is just meant to be there. It just exists. Normal types aren't good enough to matter. It makes sense, but at some point I would just like to see the inverse done. Because, like, I don't know, I just think
that's fair.
Fixes that. It doesn't have to go widespread or anything, but we've got Scrappy. That exists. The way for normal to hit Ghost. There should be a way for Ghost to hit normal without having to use a move beforehand. There are 4 moves. Might only be on a really crappy Ghost types, but... There are 4 types left on this list. I think only 2 of them matter. I don't know if any... I think these are all actually, like... Dragon? What does Dragon got? Dragon's got the fact that it's resistant to all of your starters. All of your starters, yes. It's got 4 very decent resistances, but I guess I don't know what you would... Dragon might have something we can do. Dragon's just a weird type in general, because I feel like the type itself, it's truly what we want normal type to be almost, to some extent. It's like super normal.
It's just like super normal.
It is actually super normal.
It is super normal.
It's super normal with only one resistance and one immunity, essentially, where they can't hit. There are two things that do not hit well.
Did we just leave it?
Where Ghost only has, or where Normal only has...
I feel like Dragon is okay, honestly.
Okay, we just leave Dragon alone. Let's leave it alone.
Is there some weird cool thing? Like, I don't think of any particular thing that the Dragon moves tend to inflict. Like, there's some that do paralysis, there's some that do this, that, the other. They tend to all be very strong moves just because they, they're from dragons. Does it need any kind of other boost? I don't think so.
I think the fact that we got another type to fix Dragon, I think, is enough. And I can't, honestly,
That, you know what? The creation of the fairy type is the reason. Next is Dark, but Dark is already immune to Prankster, as we've discussed throughout this entire topic.
It's also immune to Psychic.
Which a lot of VGC players forget.
And the next one is Steel, which I think Steel is honestly perfectly fine.
Yeah, you don't want to add too much there.
I don't think doing anything to Steel...
Well, it's immune to poison, it's immune to sandstorm damage. I think Steel is doing A-okay, especially with its bajillion resistances.
And the fact that they nerfed it from resisting Dark and Ghost.
They already had to nerf it because it was too good.
Yeah. So like weather immunity plus base immunity plus 10 resistances at least.
I would have liked to, in the old days of Hail, I would have liked to see it resistant to that too. Or like immune to the hail damage, because it's steel.
It technically resists, but also hail can be big enough to actually still dent the steel.
Yeah, but hail's big enough to also dent ice.
Yeah, but you're also an ice type. It just hits you and it just connects to you and you just sticks. Yeah, you just absorb it. It hits the skin and just slowly absorbs itself into the ice type.
But I mean, what do you do to make your car more resistant to hail? You put more metal on it. So I would have liked to see it immune to hail damage. So if that ever comes back,
sure. All right, your next one, your final one is going to be fairy type. I don't know what you do here. Maybe make it immune to I don't know. I have no idea. It can status Pokemon in misty terrain. Boom, because it's a fairy type.
Yeah, why not? I think it gets essentially it gets immunity to its own misty terrain type thing. Like you
can status another Pokemon in misty terrain.
A fairy type can status a Pokemon in misty terrain.
Or use rest in misty terrain.
I don't think I would say rest because you'd want the immunity I guess you could because you're putting the status on yourself. So yeah, I guess you could.
I think we covered that even in that description of they can. I think we're okay.
The fairy types can status Pokemon in misty terrain, including yourself, if that's how it does.
Self-targeting or others, yeah. I think that works. Fairies are tricksy.
So we did it. We did all of them.
That was kind of fun.
It was a fun little exercise to think of.
I wish there was something I could think of for Dragon that wasn't too good or too niche.
I feel like Dragon is just already kind of I feel like Dragon and normal type Pokemon are just kind of sucked out of the type chart to begin with.
In a way, because they're meant to be reversed. They're meant to be kind of parallels in a way.
I think the comparison of Dragon and normal is really apt, and I hadn't ever considered it really before.
So for the mailbag for next week, let us know what you would do instead of what we did.
Remember, balance it. Don't go crazy.
I don't want to see Pokemon cards that go for 1 energy. I do 10 million attack and I take your deck.
That's essentially what this is.
I take your deck and I throw it into the ocean.
All right. Well, that is going to be it for the topic, guys. We're going to kick it on over to our Pokemon of the episode. We'll catch you on the flip-flop.
Episode.
Welcome to our Pokemon of the episode. Our Pokemon of the episode this week is National Dex number 144, Articuno, the Freeze Pokemon.
Its Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire Dex entry states, Articuno is a legendary bird Pokemon that can control ice. The flapping of its wings chills the air. As a result, it is said that when this Pokemon flies, snow will fall.
Articuno. We're going to focus on regular Articuno this time and not Galarian Articuno.
The new celebrity in town.
Yeah. I was playing Pokidoku the other day and I was looking.
That's not a sentence I was expecting.
Yeah, right. And they did have a psychic flying type Pokemon or something like that. I forget what it was. It was something where Galarian. No, it was a Galarian flying type. That's what it was. And I remember going, "Oh man, which one of these three are they not going to remember?" And I chose Zapdos. Mm-hmm. But Articuno was there right above it, and more people recognize that. I think Galarian Articuno design wise is one of the cooler ones.
It is very good.
I think it's very good. I think in terms of type
or Frozone.
I just think in terms of type, it's not as. It is kind of Frozone. You're not wrong, Shamu.
I didn't even consider
the one from
that.
Incredibles.
I love it.
Yeah, it's got the visor. Yeah.
Articuno is like its base stats are actually not that bad. All things considered.
It's got like the defensive stats are like what make me like it, but then it being an ice flying.
No, I think the only thing that has ever killed Articuno over the past 25 years has been that it is in fact an ice type. It is worse than like being a Moltres, where you walk in and you get 50% stealth rock damage. It is.
You do it too with Articuno.
Yeah, the problem is fire is like a more defensive type than ice is, which is saying a lot. And I think that is what ice is just not a good defensive type. Hard stop.
No.
And that is what kills Articuno here, because it's a defensive Pokemon that is an ice type. Because
the snow buff actually helps a lot though for 100 base defense. 90-100 with essentially 50% defense.
Oh my gosh, nice. I didn't think of that at all. With the special defense on that stupid one, that means you could have like 5 turns to fire off sheer colds. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing why they ran this.
Yes, no, Articuno is not bad. And yeah, its move pool is pretty shallow, all things considered. It's mostly just like ice normal flying type moves. I think it gets access to like let me look.
Ancient power.
Yeah, it's nothing fancy. Actually, I think it's like Shadow Ball and Ancient Power.
You get Hurricane. You could give Hurricane Ancient Power.
I said flying and ice type moves. Outside of Ancient Powder and like Shadow Ball, I don't think there's any other coverage.
You do get Water Pulse.
Okay, that's fair. That's almost a move.
Do
you?
That one.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
Well, yeah. Articuno is a Pokemon. It did top cut and win a regional, which is awesome. Actually, I think that's the
2 teams.
It took like what almost 30 years for Articuno to be seen as a champion Pokemon. It's very wild to me. Articuno has also been like kind of good in the TCG for a lot of his lifetime. There was the one in Silver Tempest that like Jake.
Counter. Lugia counter number 7.
Lugia counter number 423.
Yeah,
the Gambit, the Gearhart special.
You take 50 paralyze.
Yeah, you do.
It's not a bad one.
You do 50 damage to yourself and you paralyze. And this was also the same set that another TCG card came in, called Emergency Jelly as a tool.
Yeah.
Where if you drop below 30 health remaining on a Pokemon card, you could actually heal 120, which would heal the Articuno entirely because it's only 120 hit points. You could just keep paralyzing things and almost knock them out entirely on the single price Pokemon.
It's as close to a paralysis loop that we've gotten in a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
The card is still in rotation. I just don't think it's as good right now because a lot of things.
There's also the Go one that makes basic water Pokemon attack do 10 more to your opponent's active,
and that's something that might see play here soonish.
Oh yeah, I remember I ran that for a little bit in one of my Lost Zone decks to
make Cram 120. Yeah, like it's notable. Like there's one for all of the birds, and like maybe that'll come up for making they're strong.
The Zapdos definitely comes up. The Zapdos definitely comes up.
Walking Wake. Zapdos comes up. Maybe Walking Wake will use it because the basic water type still.
Yeah.
But then you have some of the old ones like the team up one where it's just, if this is your active, your opponent plays a supporter from their hand, prevent all effects of that card done to your benched water Pokemon. So it's a weird bench barrier asking for supporters so they can't boss up waters.
Oh, wow.
It's basically like can't boss. It's very good in DLC.
It's essentially like the Deontay, right? The Deontay that's out right now.
Kinda, yeah. It's a lot like
Deontay,
that.
but a bit more selective and not selective in ways where it's the only water Pokemon, but it's not. It doesn't say basic. It's just any water Pokemon.
Deontay's only been basic.
Understood.
Yeah, and then also in GLC the Delta trait Articuno that
from Roaring Skies.
Pokemon is knocked out from damage.
Oh no, Delta.
Yeah, Roaring Skies. It's knocked out by damage from an attack with this Pokemon. Take one more prize. So it's got the
iron
hands. The iron hands effect on it. It's like does 20 plus 40 for like each head, so you can do like
You can max out. Yeah, you can max out to 160, which is good. Which is good in GLC, honestly. Like,
yeah,
it's 140, but 140 is still like good with any other additional modifiers you might have from tools.
Oh yeah, 140.
But and then also you just have a 1 energy. Your opponent's active with a sleep, so you can just stall out.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad.
It's cool if you're lucky on some coin flips, but in the GLC thing, if you really build around it, you could get some weird coin flip manipulation.
Oh, by the way, a lot of our fan base might not know what GLC is. Podcast. But GLC, for those of you who do not know, is Gym Leader Challenge, which is a singleton format, which means you run a deck of 60 cards where all of the cards you can only play one copy of each. So it's a 60 card deck with 60 different cards.
And in addition to that, basic energies don't count towards that. But in addition to that, you choose one type in the TCG, and all of your Pokemon have to be that type. Of that type. Yep. So it's kind of like you are a gym leader,
and you aren't allowed like the multi-prize cards like the GX, the Vs,
nothing with
EXs.
A rule box at all.
Rule boxes are not allowed. There's also you can
anything else.
Kind of think of it as a weird like commander / like Pokemon format. If you know what commander is, it's still Magic Singleton.
That's a very common comparison.
But also if you just search like Pokemon GLC, you'll probably find the basic site that just has all the rules on it. And
it is among the more fun formats to play.
You can do a lot of wacky stuff with it, which is nice. Like it's enjoyable. It's an enjoyable like brush of air when you can do like, I want to make a really bad deck with fighting Pokemon that do better when you're behind on prizes. Sometimes it works.
Hypothetically,
none of us in this room have done this.
You can even run a fairy deck again, because there are successful fairy type decks, even though you're not getting any new cards.
You're not going to get any new cards
ever. The fact
that
fairy has enough support to make it work without anything new in the last like 5+ years is insane.
Trainers, that's the only thing new they get.
Yeah. But there's a lot of stuff you can explore if you're interested in that, and it's fairly budget unless you go into like high-end things of certain types. Like grass is like I think one of the more expensive because of like Roserade, but most of it's generally cheap, and you can make a budget version of any deck and still do very well.
And there's a lot of these Articunos that you can use in those if you choose water, and water is very strong.
Water is insanely strong. Yeah, like most of the types are actually strong in one way or another with what they get.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, this is Articuno. I don't know if is there any like actual Articuno trivia?
Let's see.
I'm going to say probably not much.
Wait,
but
Cantonian Articuno is the only Pokemon other than Poliwrath and Gen 2 only, and Smeargle that is able to learn Lock-On or Mind Reader and an Oko move.
I didn't. Yes, that is true. That is true.
So
an Articuno can be found using this combination in the battle subway.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow. Articuno and Moltres and Zapdos have beetle species named after them. IRL. Yes. There's Binburum Articuno, Binburum Zapdos, and Binburum Moltres.
That's funny.
Yeah, the three species were first described in 2020 and were collectively named after the legendary birds to reflect their rarity.
There's the other common
that's so silly. I love that. Like, I love moments like this where like Pokemon enters like mainstream.
The real. Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. There's actually like the tweet of it. That's awesome. Yeah, they're all like the same beetle with like different colorations. Is what it is. Like the Moltres is like half bright like gold and the like brownish black.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, there it is.
The Articuno is much more of like a palish brown in general, and then the Articuno's the Zapdos one has like a small bright section of like yellow gold, and then the rest of it's like a dark brown and stuff.
It's love
weird.
That. That's so cool.
That's cool. Different colorations. That's neat.
And there's obviously the trivia fact that everybody knows, but you might not have heard, where Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres are uno, dos, tres.
Wow.
No.
You blew my mind. I don't know. Like you know when you're scrolling on YouTube Shorts or TikTok or like Facebook Reels or Instagram Reels, they have somebody who's just like, I didn't realize this before. I'm like, at this point, I don't know if I believe them.
Right.
you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know if I believe you.
Although, like, think about it.
But, well, okay, so the problem is the only reason I believe them, Seth, is because I'm so old.
I know
that people
for me though
that people that are old enough to create that content exist.
I know it's crazy. For me, the thing that I have to get past, especially with I learned that whole trivia fact much later than I probably should have, because we're old, Thatch. We were introduced to these Pokemon and they became just named items before we knew the definitions of words, so we never that parts of our brain never crossed over and it's like, oh my gosh, that's what it is, until it was pointed out to me.
I kind of agree with you, Seth. The only reason I'm willing to accept your reality is because you didn't start podcasting with me until like 2017.
Yeah,
but I've been doing this since like 2007.
For sure.
And so like all of this stuff has been readily apparent to me since because I started doing this podcast. I do have to remind myself very, very often that like I am not the normal Pokemon fan. I I'm just not. Like there's just no way. But yeah, it is very exciting. Voltra or Articuno, I'm so happy it won something. This is the first time it's actually won something in forever.
Something. I'm also like looking at the trivia here. Apparently, Ash thought the Articuno in that mural was Ho-Oh, and I didn't know that.
Ash is not.
Yes.
Ash mistakes the Articuno engraving as Ho-Oh.
Ash was not smart. I don't know if that was
the reason it took him this long to become a master.
Especially season 1 Ash. Season 1 Ash was not very smart.
No, I know. It's just so like I just never.
Well, he was much younger.
I don't remember that line, and also now seeing it here, it's just like, the blue bird is definitely the red bird that you saw.
Oh my gosh, that's Ho-Oh.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, Ash, you're colorblind. Have fun with that.
I saw that just a few days ago.
I feel like
it for its rainbow color.
Well, okay. To be fair, this all happened in the same day, and during that point, he had been attacked by Fearos and almost struck by lightning. He's
got a very love-hate relationship with birds.
He had a day. Okay, before that
stole a girl's bike.
He had a day before this all happened. Let's be honest, okay?
Good.
And it doesn't end for another. That day doesn't end for another episode. Okay.
I want a redone. Like I want that scene redone, and just it's him just looking at it, and like one eye just kind of goes off to the side, and like collapses or something. Just like, oh god.
Oh, that'd be funny.
Yeah.
I could just envision like the like.
It's blurring the red with the blue, and it's
Ho-Oh.
I'm just doing a whole like YouTube video on that.
Yeah.
All right.
Articuno.
I am gonna cut us off here because we are going in a circle about the same thing. But
Articuno, it deserves it.
This is Articuno.
Arctic number 1.
We are gonna go ahead and kick it on over now, guys, to our mailbag.
All right, so we're looking for emails since the 4th.
I don't remember if I did this already or not for us this week. Probably didn't because my new phone hasn't logged me into the email.
It's mail time! It's time for the mailbag! Send in your emails!
Welcome to our mailbag. The mailbag is the part of the show where you email us at puclpodcast@gmail.com and we read it on the show. We typically have a prompt. This week we asked you what you thought of Plaza. And we are going to go, of course, and go ahead and read it. Plaza, by the way, is Pokemon Legends Z to A. But of course, this segment is brought to you by the fictional energy drink Green Tauros, the energy drink that gives you hooves.
Hooves. Nay.
And we'll give the Green Tauros badge to anybody we deem worthy. With that said, we've got 3 emails for you guys this week. I am going to get this one, though, from Matt. Greetings, Pucklecast. I just updated my review for the Puckle podcast that I've been putting off for far too long. My Apple username is SpartanTHX117. Anyway, the first time I heard my review being read on the podcast, I was driving home with the fiancé who was asleep in the passenger seat. Needless to say, my reaction brought my sleeping fiancé to a dazed and greatly confused state of mind. I had to replay it for her, but she smiled and went back to sleep. Since then, we've noted that my review has been repeated. That is because Thatch sometimes puts the show together at 10 o'clock, and also lately has been very busy. And has not had time to update it. Which has been repeated, which is wicked awesome, but the wife wants me to update the review because I'm using her words. People will know that we are married. I love her to death, so we have been happily married since 2023. Well, congrats. Good for you. I'm very happy. One of the many interests we have, of course, is Pokemon. I was hooked onto Pokemon since watching it in its early weekday morning showtime on Fox and playing Pokemon Blue. I don't think it was on Fox. This is deep lore that Thatch probably knows, but might be incorrect. I'm actually a big fan of like Saturday morning cartoon lore.
I believe it. I know. I mean, my nerd bar just did Saturday morning cartoon trivia the other day, so I get it.
Dude, I am so upset that Saturday morning cartoons essentially don't exist anymore. I miss the programming blocks. There's just like something so magical about the Saturday morning cartoon programming block that I just miss. I think that's kind of something we've lost with streaming. This is old man Thatch talking now. I think streaming has made it so that everything's so on demand that we get to lose a lot of variety, and it really kills like the discovery of new things that we may like, right? And old school programming blocks, including Saturday morning cartoons, were a very good job for you, or did a very good job of you discovering new content you might be interested in.
I disagree with the discovering part, because you can still discover content you like on like streamers. Like,
I think it's harder. I think a lot of algorithms are just not as fun.
It's not as easy, but it's also not as hard by just it's weird. It's weird. But I don't like algorithms. I think algorithms feel a little too fake and forced. But that's just my opinion. No, cause see how happens for me and stuff is finding new people as I go. So or it's like someone, I'm watching a stream. They rate someone. Oh wow, I like this person. What just happened?
That's a stream. That's a stream. I'm talking about streaming services like Netflix and Disney Plus. I'm not talking about like streamers like on Twitch. I'm talking about different things.
Okay, yeah. Like that's okay. I'm even just thinking of like YouTube itself, like going, "Oh, this person talked about this thing. Oh, there's a review for this. Okay, now I want to watch that and check that out." It's not exactly the same, but it's also not, I wouldn't say it's exactly.
I also miss cheesy cereal commercials. Nobody has tried to sell me Trick cereal in a very long time.
Cheesy cereal sounds awful.
But I digress.
I really wish I could have tried that cheesy ice cream, the mac and cheese ice cream they made. I wanted to try that. It sounds terrible. I'm
gonna get us back to the email before we continue on this incredibly bad tangent. I kept a low key in high school. College was all right in meeting additional fans of the franchise, but I met more fans when I joined the service. I recall one of my shipmates coming back from the Sandbox Liberty area in Jabil Ali with Pokemon Black. When my duty section rotation was complete and Liberty was given, I first dropped off my laundry, went to the store and bought myself Pokemon Black and White, returned to the laundry building, and as I sat next to the washing machine, I started playing Pokemon Black. Eventually hung over my friend/shipmates, came over to do their laundry, and one by one we pulled out our Nintendo DSs playing the latest Pokemon game. Granted, the Wi-Fi was not great and we missed out getting Victini, but we did regardless hang out later that night with drinks in hand. Most of the ports we visited, even in our home port, we always managed to meet other Pokemon fans. The wife has 3 older brothers who were also into Pokemon, so when a new version would come out, she would get the hand-me-down version. For example, Gold and Silver would release, and she would get to play Red and Blue, since back then, one save file per game. So when we started dating back in 2020, I reintroduced her to Pokemon Sword and Shield, and she of course was mind-blown by the fact Nintendo Switch can have multiple accounts and, in turn, multiple save files. She would brag to her brothers that she was playing the most current Pokemon game. Fun fact, one of her brothers was also one of my longest best friends since 1995, and that's how I met my wife. As they say, you don't have to look far for love. I might have. I actually don't know the answer to that. At times, I would leave my Switch with her, especially on weeks I know I was going to be busy at work, and she'd call me up not only to just chat, but to ask Pokemon advice, like, why do electric moves not work on Quagsire? I could go on with other stories, but that can be for another time. Wishing you, your co-host, your family, and your friends the best. And even sent pictures of her playing the game. All right. Well, thank you for that, Matt. Our next email is going to be from Timmy C.
Let me find, yeah. Timothy. What up, Puckle crew? Timmy C here once again. First off, PLZA is a great way to refer to this game. It's like Plaza and Tazaf used together to make a statement that says, yes, I'm here. Okay? You can stop asking about me. As for the announcement, I am legit excited for another Legends game. X and Y were great entries for me and my college buddies. We would all get into one dorm room with our 3DS and then play into the evening. I'm all for lore drops and ancestors of characters, but that fact that Mega Evolution is coming back makes me super stoked. Random fact about me, favorite Mega is a tie between Mega Bayonet and Houndoom.
I resonate with this so much. Like, Pokemon X and Y was, one, the moment that, like, Puckle, like, really turned on. And two, also just, like, it just brings back so many memories.
Gen 6 pre-bank meta, best game.
The people that were doing the meta was very good. The people that were doing Puckle with me at the time were Bocephus, who, if you're gonna be on Patreon, might see an episode with him soon, actually. Bocephus, Scissor Kick, and Cleary. And I just remember the four of us playing together all of the time. It was just shortly before Shamu joined, actually.
Yeah, because I joined shortly after, I think, Gen 6 came out.
You joined in early 2014, I think. I just remember Bo and I would give Cleary so much crap because what we would do for fun is because the PSS was in X and Y, so you could just like tap on your friends with their online and like battle them or whatever. And we would always challenge each other to battles for funsies with whatever in-game team we had on ourselves at the time. I remember Cleary would always complain. He's like, I'm always losing to you guys. And we would always go, well, Cleary, that's because you can put 6 Megastones on all of your Pokemon, but you can only Mega Evolve 1. I know he's listening to the show right now, but I love him for it. And I love those memories. Like, the memories of X and Y coming out were just fantastic for me in terms of Pokemon. It was definitely like a highlight of my time playing Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with, like, same here. In my opinion, my favorite thing about this announcement is simply imagining all the crestfallen faces of Gen 5 fans seeing their Gen get snubbed. Sure, Gen 2 didn't get anything either, but I promise you Gen 5 fans are more intense. Or far more intense. There isn't the Gen 5 remake coming, and I'm sure the majority of people aren't. Yeah. I saw them like, I agree. I am happy to see.
Well, I'm not uber surprised. I honestly thought like Gen 5 this early didn't make sense in terms of like the Pokemon rotation. This kind of feels like the people who were upset that there was no Gen 4 remake in Gen 7, because they kind of been doing a thing lately where it's like every other gen gets like a real remake.
Yeah, because also Gen 6 was the only game that didn't get like...
It didn't get a third version.
It never got a third version or another a set of games. Like,
exactly.
Gen 5 did get 2 sets of games, being Black and White and Black and White 2.
Exactly.
X and Y just got X and Y. Every other gen actually had a second set of games come out at some point.
The only argument I can see here is that I do actually, I'm a big supporter of Black and White 2 getting remakes, only because those cartridges have gotten insanely expensive.
Yeah, it'll probably be soon.
And I think all all DS and 3DS Pokemon games need to be remade for a single screen.
And we probably will get it at some point, but I assume this is probably something they already had in the works. They went, oh, we're going to do this, and then they kind of maybe have realized, oh, these are things, and people, now with the outcry now, they're like, yeah, we probably should be doing this if we haven't.
I wouldn't be surprised if they reveal like an ILCA game later this year.
I am waiting to see another Ilka pop up.
I don't think the chance is very high. I don't think the chance is very high, but I think it is. I don't think it's impossible. Yeah, I would say it's probably like at most a 20% chance of being real, but that's definitely, that's not a bad shot.
No, it's definitely like that's just gonna probably go up, honestly, as time goes over. Maybe not for Ilka exactly, but like the chance of it getting a remake is just gonna go up every year. Where were they? Alright, there's a Gen 5 remake coming, and I'm sure the majority of people aren't that fussed about it, but those Gen 5ers are probably not in the best of moods right now. Anyways, love what you guys do. Keep it up. Timmy C.
This next one is from Tim, aka Timal. 2 Tims today. And we're going to give this one to Seth Vilo.
You betcha. G'day, Thatch and Co. Tim here with my thoughts on what Legend ZA could look like. I have a few theories which will undoubtedly be proven wrong within the next year, but whatever. Speculation is fun. Until people get their hopes up too much, but I digress. Number 1. The starters. I think they are going to go with Pokemon that haven't had Megas before and that have their designs based on French history and culture. My theory is that we'll see Snivy, the French aristocrat, Scorbunny because FIFA, and Piplup for obvious reasons. I don't think they will get regional evolutions. I think they will be getting megas to promote its return.
Okay, so I haven't told anybody my starter theory yet, but my starter theory, I think it's actually like much more transparent than people realize. So one, it can't be any Gen 9 starters, right? I think that if you're from a gen, had a starter in Pokemon Legends Arceus, you were also ineligible. Just because they're going to try to spread it out and mix things up. So that takes out Gens 2, Gens 5, and Gen 7. We'd nix those. This is a bold claim. I think they take out Gen 1.
Yeah, because they've already got megas.
Well, they've already got megas.
And Gen 3, because they've already got megas.
And Gen 3, because they've already got megas. So that leaves us with Gens... you're not going to do Gen 6. I guess that just leaves us with Gens 4 and 7 and 8. So maybe I'm wrong.
Keep going. No, keep digging.
Yeah. Thanks, Seth. Thanks. 4 and 8, I think, are very obvious. I think one of those two are happening. I guess he has those as well. And he chose Snivy. Okay, fine. You know what? You can have Snivy. I'll give it to you.
Because these are the ones I've also heard from multiple people. Like, Scorbunny, I think, is also the French hair, I think, or something like that. The hair, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We make this argument, but like, Greninja wasn't in PLA. I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, yeah, I'll say what mine is, because it's either you're doing essentially these ones for what you can do with them in the location, or you're just doing the Gen 6 starters. It's like one or the other.
Yeah, I think there's a not so wild chance that you either get the Gen 1 starters or just the Gen 6 starters.
I hope it's at least Snivy, because I want Mega Superior with Contrary Leaf Storm shenanigans.
Honestly, I'd be super okay with just like with regionals again. I really like regionals. I think PLA did such an awesome job.
I would like regionals, but I just think that showing the megas...
What if we get Empoleon that actually took over?
The fact that we know Mega they're there, though, it's just that, like, I think they're gonna definitely lean into Megas for this, though. Like, I would love to see a regional, but I don't think it's gonna be the case.
What if it's a regional Mega? Oh!
I'm okay with both.
I'm okay with both, too. I would love both, but I just don't see it happening for, like, the starters, you know? I could see other Pokemon have regionals, and then, like, the starters have a Mega.
Colossian Mega Superior. Oh!
I don't like the concept of here's a form with a certain Mega, you know, and then it makes it even much more restrictive to ever get.
Oh, no. It wouldn't be a form with a Mega for sure. It's one or the other.
Why not?
It's one or the other, Seth. We know this.
Why not?
Because Pokemon's already complicated, and I feel like we can't make it more complicated.
But also, if you're getting a starter and they want to introduce Mega, they're going to give you a Mega for your starter that they know you have.
Yeah.
I disagree only because of the original X and Y games where your starter did not Mega Evolve.
But they gave you the Kalos starter that did Mega Evolve.
They gave you the Kanto starter, yes. I still kind of disagree. They could do the same thing again where they still give you a Kanto starter later on anyway.
Or they give you a Kalos starter.
I think Kalos starter Mega Evolutions could potentially happen for sure.
They're the way that they're doing it, but yeah, like they'll probably do one or the other. They probably won't they won't cross the beams, I hope.
I agree. I digress though. Continue going, Seth. I'm sorry. I've just been like, I'm rambling on every single one of these emails.
That's okay. That's what we're here for. Anyway, he continues. I don't think they'll get regional evolutions, but I think getting Megas to promote its return. I read that part. Number 2, the Pokedex. I think we will see all lines with Megas return, as well as every Pokemon introduced in Gen 6. Yes, even Rayquaza will be back, but likely as a post-credits catch. By my estimate, also including Pokemon we've seen in the trailer, that has the dex at around 200, leaving plenty of room for miscellaneous Pokemon, new ones, and regional forms.
I still think having every Pokemon that can Mega Evolve just feels very unrealistic, but that's just me.
I hope they're there. I just want Sableye back.
I will feel really bad. I don't know. Like, I will feel bad if, like, you know, out of, like, the 48, like, 30 of them are there.
Yeah.
I feel like that if you have... I'd rather not have every old Mega, and I'd rather see new ones.
Porque no los dos.
I absolutely agree. Like, this is... If they make this game, they know. Like, they know Mega Flygon has to happen. I, as Thatch, do not care.
They've had how many years?
Well, I just do not care about Mega Flygon.
Yeah.
So many people do.
Yeah.
And I know if they don't do it, they're going to be like, why wasn't there a Mega Flygon, Game Freak?
We still had Artist Block.
They look at you and they say, you. That's their answer. Yeah.
You did this. Anyway, moving on. Number 3, the city itself and the role of the player. I think there will be parks, lakes, rivers, and general underdeveloped areas still within the city to house all the Pokemon in the decks.
I agree.
You could catch stray Furfrou in back alleys, then head to the lake and find some Froakie or some Fletchling nesting in the trees. Instead of pastures, maybe the Pokemon we catch will be featured in the wildlife park on the city outskirts or in a zoo. Step right up, come and feed the ferocious Pangoro, only 2 francs. I think the player will be a research associate for the Pokemon Lab, probably trying to help the professor find out how the Pokemon can help with the redevelopment of the city. Think Jubilife Village, but on a much grander scale.
I actually agree with this. You know how you gave the Pokemon to the villagers in Jubilife Village? I think it's going to be that, but even more intense. Like I think as a researcher, we might not have to, in how Pokemon Legends Arceus said you catch multiple Pokemon so that you can help complete the dex entry things. I think that won't be there in this game. I think it'll be like, hey, we need like 25 electric type Pokemon to like really beef up this part of the city.
Yeah, it'll be different types of Pokemon or something like that for different tasks to like build the city, essentially. Yeah, it makes sense.
Think like how the farm worked in Jubilife.
Yes.
We need a Pokemon that knows Rock Smash and a water type and a this.
That's what I think it's just going to be more of that.
They continue on. I can see the whole city being open world from the get-go, with level scaling the further away you get from the lab. My biggest wish for the game, the professor, maybe an ancestor of Sycamore, and he's somehow even hotter, heart eye emoji. Anyway, this is already way too long and probably repeating what 1,000 people have said already. Looking forward to the rest of the year plus of speculation from my favorite Pokemon podcasters. Bien French word, Tim. A.k.a. Timol.
Which Pokemon podcasters is he listening to? Who's his favorite? Because it can't be us. All right.
Who are they?
Who are they? All right. Well, thank you for that. All of you have done a wonderful job. I don't know who to give the badge to, honestly.
We rambled on so much of all of them. Like...
Only because I've cut all of them off and given my 2 cents, because it's a Friday evening.
Whoa, spoilers!
Whoa, breaking the fourth wall here.
Oh no!
Friday night.
I'm gonna go. Tim gets.
Which one?
Exactly. Fight for it.
Exactly. Fight to the death. First one to message us.
First one to ping us
is the more dedicated Tim.
Don't ping me. I'll be at Disney World. I'm not looking.
Either way, if they both ping us anyway, they can both have it. That's how we'll do it today.
There you go.
Though I did really appreciate Matt and his wife. So, all 3 of you get it because I interrupted all of you.
Yay.
Is that the first time we've given it to everyone?
In a while.
But welcome to the PoGo podcast, where the green Taurus badges don't matter.
I was about to on one of those Thatch lists.
But yeah, well, that's going to be it for the show this week. If you want to hang out with us, you can go to puclpodcast.com and hang out with us on our Discord, where you can chit and chat with us all day long. Of course, you can also follow us on social media over at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Additionally, you can follow us at YouTube at youtube.com/PoGoPodcast. You can watch us on Twitch at twitch.tv/ThePoGoPodcast. And if you want to support the show, you can go to do a couple of things. First, you can go to trollandtoad.com and use code PucklePod5 at checkout for a 5% discount on any TCG or cardboard related product you may want. And finally, if you want to help support the show and get some extra shows for your goodness, you can go on over to patreon.com/PucklePodcast. Look out, guys. New ones are coming in next week. So I'm very excited to bring those up. But with that, guys, I have been Trainer Thatch.
I've been Shamu.
And I've been Lord Seth Vilo.
And here in the Lavender Town Radio Tower, it's closing time.